we're talking about, I don't know about you guys, but I know personally for me, and for those of you who are watching, COVID has hit my community hard. I mean, obviously it has impacted everyone, but I don't know that I valued community like I value it in this moment. I was like, at first I was okay. I like to say that I'm like an introverted extrovert. Like, I really like people, but I just kind of like to be in people. I don't want them to like talk to me all the time. And so, but now I'm just like, please talk to me. Like, do anything. Just like be. I just need to be with community. And it's not only like people that I don't know, but just the value that we're all grieving something, right? Through COVID, we've all experienced things, whether that's good, whether that's bad. So we're either grieving, we're celebrating, but we're doing it for the first time without our community around us, without them able to be like, around us. So tonight we're going to talk about the community, or how important community is, and just kind of, as we're going into the summer, give us some good things to talk about and to think about, how you can grow your community, maybe what a healthy community looks like, because sometimes we have community, but it might not be the best. So work on getting the best community that you can around you. So I have these 4 amazing ladies up here, and they're going to be the ones talking tonight. So if you don't mind to just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, a little bit about yourself, so go ahead.
Hello. My name is Amberly. Thank you. I like to say that I give 100% to 2 part-time jobs. I am on staff here at CLC with transfer student ministry, and then I also coach competitive cheer and gymnastics at the Williams Center.
Hi, I'm Jami Cheshire, and I have been going to church here for over 20 years now. And I am a kindergarten teacher in Springdale, and I have a wonderful husband and 2 kiddos that I am about to spend a whole lot of time with now that summer's almost here.
I'm Angie Landers, and I have been at CLC for a little over 16 years, and now have the joy of working here, supporting our pastors, which is awesome. I have been married for almost 18 years and have 4 kiddos, 2 out of the nest and 2 still in the nest. So.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Parice Bowser. Let's see, I serve on campus as an administrator. I have a new position. I'm now the new assistant vice chancellor for Greek life. I've been here at Christian Life Cathedral, similar to Angie, probably about 15, 16 years now. I'm about to celebrate our anniversary this coming June, and I have a daughter as well.
Yay, okay. So I'm going to scoot my chair back just a little bit. But, okay, so tonight, the importance of community. So we're going to be talking about that. About that. Perfect. So we're going to be talking about the importance of community. So if you guys don't mind, so either describe what your current community looks like, or I know that you help facilitate communities, a lot of you, in different areas of your life. So just describe to me what community looks like to you.
Okay, well, I'm going to come from 2 folds. So for me, community on a day-to-day basis look like I'm over 7,400 Greek students on the University of Arkansas campus. So I'm responsible for like fraternities as well as sororities. And you always hear all the bad things, but I promise you that there are great things that happen. I would not do it if not. But I get the opportunity to lead that particular community, which is good. But on the flip side of it, I also have a personal life. And so I get the opportunity to hang out with family and friends here. We do not have any family that's here, so I consider my church family my family, which is a community for me. So to me, that's what it looks like. My day-to-day job, I'm there most of the time, all the time, but also when I come home or to church or what have you, I get the opportunity to spend community with another group of individuals.
So cool. I too have, kind of more than one community. I have my church family is obviously my main community. That's just who I'm with all the time. And so, doing life with them. And then I think just outside of like my normal family, just this past year, I got into health coaching, which was really fun. And that has just really broadened my community there too. I've gotten to meet a lot of people, so I feel very blessed to do that.
well, off what they said, I definitely have a strong community here at CLC with the women's ministry, and spend a lot of time with some friends outside of church, and have a community at home with my husband and I. We are facilitating that, and 2 kids, and how to raise them to be wonderful people, and that's hard. And I guess probably one of my most important communities is going to be my work community, because I have some really amazing women that rally around me and the students daily, and we have some tough days, and we get each other through that, and then I also have some other communities that I've just kind of made along the way from high school or college, and we're still checking on each other, we're still praying together, we're still sharing all the joys and the pains of everyday life. So it's and my students, 5-year-old community. That one's got some fun stories with it.
So I'm not married, so I don't have a in-home community of a husband and kids yet. But yet. But kind of like Parice, I don't have a lot of the majority of my family, my parents and my siblings. I have one sibling that lives here, and then my dad, and the rest of them are in another state. So my church family, y'all, have kind of become my family, y'all. I wrote down 6 or 7 different communities, and I've got my work ones, and then I've got my personal ones. So kind of the same as them.
Okay, so you all have different communities. Some of them serve different purposes. Some of them come naturally, right? Your family community, some of them are your job, some of those. So why is community important? Why can't you just go out and be you and go from there?
Well, community is vital for life. It's one of those things that everybody wants to be loved, everybody wants to belong, everybody wants to feel special. You want to feel like you're meaningful, you have a purpose, and I think all that flourishes when you're in community. Life is difficult, jobs are difficult, parenting is difficult, being in friendships is difficult, and you just have to have those people, introvert, extrovert, whatever. You got to have somebody to share those day-to-day joys and those struggles with, and I think God meant for us to do that with community, with each other, and man, I've missed it. I've missed it.
I would just echo that. I always go back to, we were not created to do life alone. Right. We were created for relationship. We were created for fellowship, and it's hard enough being a mom, being a wife, being a employee, whatever hat you wear, it's hard enough doing those things. And so having people surrounding you, cheering you on, encouraging you, building you up, it's vital. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said. The only thing I would add is just, to me, it gives you the opportunity to also grow. When I think about myself from an individual perspective and the community that I have and my friends, they challenge me. They also give me a different perspective, a way of looking at things, because certainly none of us are perfect at all. And so to me, community also gives you that aspect too.
So there's the importance of community, right? So what it is, it's supporting, it's people loving you for exactly who you are, exactly where you are, right? That's a big one. So would you guys mind, so there's obviously a difference between a healthy community and a not healthy community. I know personally I have been a part of both. I might not have known that it was unhealthy when I was in it, right? But hindsight's 20/20, so you can look back. So what are some examples that you guys have seen, whether they're personal or you've seen them in, your work that you do, of an unhealthy community? What does an unhealthy community look like?
I've seen it both ways. Let's see, and I'm just going to talk in general. I'm going to say being divisive. I think that's going to be my biggest thing. I've seen it, whether it's, within the organizations that I help to advise and or just, again, community. And it can be hurtful, because you have people who don't want to listen to the other side. They're basically closed-minded. You're not open and wanting to, learn and or open up to new ideas, new thoughts, things like that. And that can hurt as well as harm people at the same time. But then on the flip side of it, when you are open to it, and you give others the opportunity to hear your thoughts, your particular perspectives, that can also be very healthy as well. We're not going to always, agree. It's okay to agree and disagree. At least for me, I'm okay with that. But at the same time, just be willing to listen and to have an open mind. And to me, that's what I think of when I, hear of unhealthy type relationships.
Yeah, I would just say, in addition to that, just if you're in a community that's not building you up, that's not making you better, that's not helping you grow, then it might not be the community that you need to be in,
But it's also good what you said too, is that sometimes to grow like that is you're gonna push back, right? They might tell you something that you don't want to hear.
Absolutely.
But if they're also not encouraging you and building you up, then that's
you can help someone grow constructive criticism, So there is a healthy way, obviously, to do it. Yeah.
I think definitely a healthy community is exactly what they explained, but also a place where you can be very authentic, completely yourself. You don't have to hide, your past or any part of yourself. You're a community, you're a healthy community. They love you just the way you are. And, we were all given gifts and different talents, and that's why when we come together as a community, we get to use all those for the glory of His kingdom and His people. And that's how we grow and stretch and how we get to be better.
Yeah, kind of like what Jami said, being a part of an unhealthy community, in the past, I felt like I kind of had to hide my ugly, the parts of me, stuff from my past or stuff that I was going through, those things felt like I had to be very hidden. And so to be in communities now that are healthy where I can obviously not run out and tell everyone, but those people that are that safe space and the people that walk alongside me, and then also just whenever I was making my notes, I wrote a healthy one is non-judgmental, forgiving, patient, and that you know them and know little things about them. You bought me a hand towel with pickles on it just because you know that I like pickles. So little things like that aren't as serious, but also knowing other things about them, what would help them, in that moment, how can I meet them where they are?
And two, thinking about communities in general. We're going off script for just a second, but the concept of community, do all of your communities have to be super tight-knit, right? So talk a little bit about your communities. So Jami, here's an example. I'm sure you don't tell your kindergartners when, you and your husband are fighting, right? It's just so what do boundaries in community look like? Go ahead.
Okay. I kind of think of, I've seen the visual model where it's the tight circle of 3 and then the 12, and then so I've kind of seen that before, and that's what I think of. I have the people in my life, and I would say my super tight-knit circle is made up of one person from different communities. So you're one of them, but then I have someone else that doesn't even go to this church, and then I have someone else who, so it's different people that bring different things and different perspectives, and then obviously kind of with the kindergartners, I don't tell my kids that I coach all of my personal stuff I'm going through, and so I think I think you kind of have to create those boundaries on your own, and I am really hesitant up front, so I think that just like naturally is there for me. And then it's just kind of like, okay, I can go a little bit further with this person. So
I think what I thought of when you said that is, you have a spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend that I think are going to share, like you said, some more intimate things, but you also are going to have some things, you're going to go through some things that you've never done before. You haven't been there before. And I think you have to have, a group of women around you that you can trust, that are going to give you godly wisdom and godly advice, but that also kind of think like you. Because I think we all know that men and women don't think the same. So that's important. That's important to have that. And then you still have, this super close-knit relationship with your spouse, but they look different.
Yeah.
They look different.
Yes. I don't know if I would really add anything to that.
I'm trying to think here. So this time I'm going to flip it and go and put on my work hat. So within my job, I work with 4 different communities. So I have a predominantly, white fraternity system, sorority system. So you have your IFC, your Panhellenic, but then I also have my African American students, fraternities and sororities, and then Latino fraternities and sororities. And even within that, itself, they're different. We're more the same, but they're different, at the same time. Will you have some discord? Yes, because there's so many different things going on. You grew up totally different. Your socioeconomic status, just everything. It's just different. Where you're from. Are you from Texas? Are you from a little rural town here? In Arkansas. So again, there's like diversity within that. As well. But even though you're going to have your differences, I look at it like this. And it don't always work out. But at the end of the day, we all have one goal. And whatever that one goal is, we have a goal or we have a mission, we have a vision, just kind of like, here at the church, our leader is our pastor. And so we all need to be working towards that one thing, that goal, or whatever those things are. And as long as we're working towards that, then that's going to help put the unity within the community. You're going to do it differently. You may go about it a whole different way. But for me is we need to all be striving for that end goal. And when I put it back and think about the church, our end goal, at least I would say here, is heaven. So whatever we're doing, we need to be making sure that we're striving to go to heaven. And so that's how I want to live, and that's what I try to live out each and every day with those people who I work with, to do the same thing, whether it's here in the church or in the workplace.
That's awesome. That's good. That's so good. Okay, so this is a question you can answer by raise of hands. Who here is introverted? Hilarious. No wonder we're all friends. Okay, so
I'm like, what? No.
Right? Okay, so, we're all extroverted here.
Right.
I'm sure that there is some, right? We have some introverts in the crowd, right? But, so I'm sure there are people who are introverted, and here's the thing, we know someone who's introverted. I feel like, I'm married to one. So, right, that's hilarious. We're all just like, yeah, we married one.
But that works out, though.
It does, right? So, right.
Put that in your notes.
Take notes.
Put that in your notes.
So we are all extroverted, and so how we find community is different than how introverts find community. So let's speak on that. So we're gonna obviously have the perspective of extroverts, but we know introverts and how, their perspective is. So give me some thoughts. What is it? How is it? because it's not good or bad or easier or harder for introverts versus extroverts to find community, right? I know sometimes it's really difficult for extroverts to find community because you might try to walk into a group of introverts and they're just going to be stressed out, right? And so it's just like, so let's talk about the dynamics of the different personalities and community.
Yeah, okay. Well, yes, I am definitely an extrovert at heart. And, I think just looking at my relationship and my husband being such an introvert, when we met, it was because I started a bowling league at our work. And that's how we met. He is the type that, like, once he gets out and gets in the community and gets in the environment, he's good. He can be social, but it's getting him out of the house, And so, and I have friends, too, who are just not, very social people and just want to be at home and read and watch movies. And that's fine, but I think you also have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone sometimes and put yourself out there and try to meet people, and because you need community. My 15-year-old would never leave the house if we would let him, ever. So it's have to push him out the door sometimes.
Exactly what she said. I am a huge extrovert. I just thrive on anything social and people, and two of my love languages are quality time and physical touch. So, I'm gonna hug you.
Yeah, she's gonna tackle you. Just get ready.
I'm gonna hug you, and sometimes the hug is for you. Sometimes the hug's for me. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna sign up for every exciting event that we can do. But you have to also, the older I get, you have to have that time. And I have introverted friends, and there's definitely days when I don't want to make decisions. And, I need to be with that person that's just going to sit with me. And, or, just like you said, watch the movie. And you need all those different kind of people in your life just to balance you out. But I would encourage the introverts too, don't miss what God might have for you because you're afraid. And I know, we've had this past year, we've all been kind of stuck in, and you can get kind of used to it. But, go find a community.
Yes, I'm an extrovert as well. Surprise. I didn't want to forget this, so I wrote it down, but thinking about I have quite a few people in my communities that I'm close with that are introverts, and a lot of times they say, like, they kind of like rely on their extrovert. They're like, hey, like, I need you to get here, or text me when you're here, I'm gonna wait in the car, or like, I need you to go in first, or like, you go talk to them first, or or they're like, did you just go talk to that person? I'm like, yeah. And so a lot of people in my community speak Enneagram, so a lot of people are like, oh, I need my 7, or like rely on their 7. 7 just means extrovert, pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay. So we talked about we've talked about how the importance of community. We've talked about maybe how some of your personalities find community, especially us, right? We don't have the introverted side of that, but we all know we all have an introvert in our community. Sometimes we just pulled them in and said, "You made the cut, let's go." But so that's how that is. So does your community ever change? Let's talk about that. It might not be, is it going to change? But you can talk about from your past. Has your community changed since you were in high school, since you were in college? What does that process look like?
For me, it's definitely changed, just because I've moved so much and been involved in different things throughout the years. And with not being married, it's not like, oh, me and my husband found a home in this place. I just kind of can do whatever. And so finding community, as an extrovert, I easily find community because I can just walk into a room and be like, well, here I am. And so it's easy to meet people, but it is hard to like open up and let people in and like allow them to have that trust. And so, and I was raised kind of independent, like it was, yeah. But so I think for me, like finding community in that way has been hard, but it's changed also because like realizing a community wasn't the best for me. It was a lot easier probably than somebody who's married to like, okay, well, I think that I need to rethink this and move somewhere else. So
I've definitely had lots of different communities throughout my life. I mean, you definitely have the high school communities that you have, and I mentioned earlier that some of those people I'm still in contact with, and obviously they don't know every day-to-day thing, but we're still a support. And I think when you get to college, you have a college community. You're kind of figuring things out, figuring out who you are. And I have a very, very close friend that I still hang out with from college, but not a lot of other people from college. And then you have your married community, and then you move on and you have your kid community or your parenting community, and you can have really strong communities within your family too. I think I'm really close with my husband's family, and then you have your work community. And it's kind of interesting that you asked this question, because as of this week, we'll be moving to a second grade teaching position in the fall. So I'm really excited about that. I'm leaving some really good friends, but they're still my community. I still have them, and you don't ever have to have enough community or too many. So I just get to add another community to what I already have, which is a huge blessing to me.
Yeah, I would just say I think your community changes with your season of life. Growing up, we moved around a lot when I was young and didn't really settle until I was like in middle school age. And so, I look at people that I graduated high school with that have been together since they were like in preschool, and are still like best friends. And now them and their families do stuff together and all that. And I never really had that. So I've had community in every season of life, and I've make friends, wherever I'm at, whether it's my job or whether it's my church or, whatever. Like I make friends. I love people. So I'm constantly like, let's connect, let's have lunch, let's have coffee. So it changes with seasons.
I agree with everything you just said. I definitely agree with that. And I would say I have this core group, like a core group of friends. And I'll be honest, that little core group will never change. I mean, that is a core group. We do something at work called Strengths Quest. And, one of my top 5s is Relator. And you hit on it a little bit earlier when you talked about trust. And Relator, you have a hard time just letting everybody in, or if I let you in and you do too much, you will never come back. It's one of those things. So I have my core group, and it's just a small little group, my little circle, and I'm okay with that. But then going back, though, to what Angie was just saying, though, for every season, I've developed different relationships. And I've just connected to those people. And one of the things that I just want to hit on is relationships. They really do, matter, and I would just encourage anyone, whether you're an introvert or you're an extrovert, just to form relationships, because that will certainly help you as you go through every particular walk of life, just developing relationships. Everybody don't have to know all your business. Let's just keep it real. They don't have to know. But someone may need to know where could they go to do XYZ. Who is a best doctor here in Northwest Arkansas? Different things like that. Like your marriage groups. Certain things like that. So I think that's important. But I still have that one core group, and that's my community, like my main group.
We're going off script just a little bit. So I know. I'm at least warning you that I'm going off the script. So talking a little bit about the change of community. And maybe you have an example of this, maybe you don't. But what does it look like to move on from a community? So you're changing jobs. Like, yes, you'll still be in contact with some of those people. But even when you graduated, right? You left those people behind. You moved on, and I think that mourning those relationships and those communities are huge. And if we don't, sometimes that can leave it open to like, oh, they left me because of me. And it's like, no, really, let's talk about, it's a season of life as you move on. So kind of talk about maybe your experience in that, of what it looks like to move on from a community.
The first thing that comes to mind is you can love somebody from a distance. That is the first thing that comes to mind, because most times if I've moved on from someone, and not a job, but just a relationship or individuals, it's because you did something, said something, or what have you. And even family, let's just keep it real. I've had extended family where I've had issues before as well. But I'm just reminded of, what God said, I still need to love everybody. So I love you. I promise I love you. But I can love you from a distance. I can still love you from a distance, and just have peace, within, and keep it moving.
That is so good. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I have struggled with, I would say, in the past, just call it 5 years, because of a family relationship that I've had to move on from. And it's hard. It is so hard, because you deal with the guilt, you deal with still the family dynamics of it. But I hear over and over in my spirit God saying, I have peace about it. I have peace about it. And if a relationship is not serving you well, it's okay to set up those boundaries. But I think, going back to just every season of life, you have different communities. And when that season is over and you move on, I go back to when I had my daycare, that was a huge community, part of my life for 10 years. And to move on from that, I definitely had to allow myself some time to mourn it. Even though I knew it was the right decision and I knew it was time for a new phase, I definitely had to take some space to mourn that, because it was hard.
I was going to say the same thing, that moving on from a community for any reason can be very difficult and very sad and very, heartbreaking. And I think the good news is that you get better at it. You get better, especially as you get older, you learn. And, one of the things that I have tried to remind myself is I've, had some people still close to me, but not, like the day-to-day kind of life. And, sometimes you have to think to beyond your sadness, and you have to think, God's got a purpose for them. And, they blessed me immensely, and it's time for them to go and be that for somebody else. And it may be the other way around. It may be your turn to go and be that for someone else. And that's what I've tried to remind myself throughout, these last years, and even right now, is that it's hard to listen to the Holy Spirit sometimes, but there's something there for us, and there's something there for everyone else too.
Kind of going back to what you said about keeping people at arm's length, I have had that kind of come full circle, where I have had something happen with a friend or people in community that I was in community with, and some stuff happened, and it was like, I'm going to forgive you because the Lord said that I'm supposed to, and I love you because He loves you, okay? But I have to keep you at arm's length. Like, I'm going to forgive you, and then we're just going to move on, and now it's come full circle where I've seen the Lord's redemption through those. And that doesn't always happen, but I've seen that, and now one of them is actually somebody who we're both in ministry in separate places, and so like we're able to come together and be like, are you struggling with this? Because I'm struggling with this, or with ministry. And or one friend, we go and have breakfast together, and it just like, so I've seen it kind of come full circle, which has been really neat. And then it was also really cool how you talked about, so I work in 2 jobs that my goal is to have them for a couple of years and then launch them. And so my community within that.
To have the jobs for a couple years? What do you mean?
Oh, no, sorry. So the students that I have at transfer, I don't have them for forever. I only have them until they graduate high school. And then the students at the gym, the kids at the gym, I have them until they either go to a different gym, move away, or graduate. And so it doesn't change, because a lot of them I still have contact with, or I'll still see them in the summer or whatever, but it just kind of shifts. So like, I don't see them every week. I don't hear about all their relationship problems or whatever they're going through that, in ninth grade. But I get to see all that they're doing in college or working, or how they're growing in their life outside of the realm where I knew them from.
And I would just say that's where social media.
Yes.
I was just gonna add on. That's the joy of social media, the positive spin of it. I mean, you can still see all these people grow, because that's what I've been able to do, and still connect with all the people from high school or even elementary school, things like that. So that's the beauty of social media too.
It's an aspect of community that we haven't figured out yet. So we're still growing it, and we've learned through COVID that even though we have that ability to reach out, via the internet or via whatever, it's oftentimes not enough, right?
Right.
Because we're still thirsty for a community. But I can call, you guys anytime. It's not the same.
Right.
It's not the same as sitting in a room. It's not the same as hugging, right? It's not the same as bowling, right? It's not the same as creating experiences with them, because that's a huge part of community, is a shared experience. Yeah. Okay, so 2 more questions. So 1, what is the benefits of having a diverse community? Or do all of your friends think exactly like you? So yeah.
Again, I kind of hit on it a little earlier. It's a different perspective, everything that you think is right, it's not always right, and again, it goes back to the way you may have grown up, your thoughts, all of that. That's the joy, again, of having a diverse community, and also being able to just see that, everybody is different. And it is okay. We all don't look alike. We all don't talk alike. And we're just not, but it is okay. And to me, that's the joy and the beauty of it. And just being acceptive of that.
Yeah, I would just say, we were all created differently. And I think just being willing to grow. You always have to be willing to grow, because you're never done growing. We're going to grow till the day we die. So just surrounding yourself with people that are different than you, and being open-minded and willing to learn and grow.
Well, when I first saw this question, all I could think about was about a year ago, I read Natasha Morrison's book, Be the Bridge, and it's an amazing book. My mother-in-law gave it to me, and although the book centers or focuses on racial reconciliation, it is so much about building Be the Bridge communities, just where all the different perspectives, you get to sit and you get to have community and you get to talk, and that is more than anything to be able to understand people's stories and where they came from, to empathize with them. Obviously, I think probably all of us on this stage probably grew up differently, and you think that that you have a good idea about this, but you don't get to see it from somebody else's perspective until you are brave enough to have those communities and those conversations. And I even put on here that that's what helps us grow. That's what helps us to become better Christians. Because Christ encompasses all of those things.
That's good. Yeah, I kind of wrote the same thing down as you about the different perspectives, and it just, because it expands our perspectives and our views and our minds whenever we have diverse communities in all different aspects, like different cultures and then different lifestyles and different people that are in different seasons of life. Like, I love having, one of my best friends is married and has a daughter. And so, we're living diverse lifestyles right now. And just hearing about, like, I love asking questions about different cultures that I don't understand or that I don't know much about. And I may not fully understand it once you explain it, but I'm still going to ask. Because, I mean, I wrote this down. I was thinking about this question earlier. The Lord made us all different on purpose and for purpose, so why would I not lean into that and embrace that?
That's good. That's good. Okay. So this is the last question, and this is really for people in the audience and for people who are watching. So how would you encourage someone to find a deep community? Because we're experiencing right now, the masks are lifting, people are getting together again. So we're really getting ready to dive back into community. And it's going to look different than it did before. It's not going to be the same. Everyone's comfortable with different things, and that's just the reality of where we are. So how would you encourage someone to find community today?
Today, right now.
Right now.
Okay, so what are you going to do right? Okay, so to the introverts that are out there, I hope you're still watching. Hope we didn't scare you off. It starts with one. It starts with one person. Amberly Horton, Facebook, look me up. I'll buy you a cup of coffee or whatever you like.
She's not kidding. She's not kidding.
Even if it's right now, that's fine. And for the extroverts, I'm sure you have a very wide community of people, and don't be afraid to start with that one person that you can go deeper with. Like, find that person that you can just open up to a little bit, and that'll be enough to kind of start that going. So.
Well, perfect. If you're an introvert, or if this year has just been impacted you in another way, start small. Start with the coffee date, or go hang out with somebody in their living room. And I think even just maybe think about, who have you missed? Is there somebody from a long time ago? Is there somebody from this year that you just have really missed their conversation and just their presence? And start there. And then, if you're an extrovert and, man, you're ready to go hug somebody, or, think big. We're going to launch these groups. We've got, Bible studies coming. Find a church. Get involved. And I do have to caution, too, though, on that note, because of the community that we have at home, you have to have the balance, okay? You have to have the balance. You can't do everything for everybody else and not take care of you or your community at home. And sometimes, I can get carried away with that too. But that's important. And just like I said, listen to the stories. And I think as far as the different communities, we should always have somebody that we're mentoring, or some younger person or somebody in a different stage of life that needs us. And we should always be mentored by somebody that's a stage ahead of us. So think about who those people would be in your life, and go have some fun.
Yes. Yeah, I would just say maybe starting with someone, just finding people that you have something in common with. You can start there, and just whether it's having coffee, whether it's having dinner, just hanging out, whatever. And then I think the more you put yourself out there, the more that you're willing to just meet people. That your community is going to grow naturally.
Hey, if you want to go bowling, here you go.
Bowling with Angie.
There you go. Well, they've pretty much said it. The only thing I could just add is, again, what is something that you love to do, your talent? If you like to sing, well, we have a choir here. So, hey, and we're looking, I'm sure, Pastor Reggie, you're going to give me some extra points for this, okay? Here's a look. Hey, we're looking for more singers, so come on. Come on Wednesday nights. And it's only 1 hour. So come on Wednesday nights. But even within that community, just using choir as an example, you're going to get in a section, and if you're in the alto section, I can tell you right now, we're going to talk to you. So, and we'll help connect you. But the same thing with the other sections as well. So just come on, and just find someone. If no one come to you, just go up to that person, but just find someone and make a connection. We want to be here for you.
Yes, that's huge. And I think too, as women, oftentimes we find each other intimidating, right? How many times have you walked out and you're just
I've heard that, yeah.
Will you be my friend? Like, I don't know. And so it's like most of the time.
I'm the nicest person there is.
Right. And then they come up to you. You're just like, I'm really not that cool. Like, I promise. So no. But it's how do we break those boundaries? So you guys are just saying, like, just make the connection.
Yeah.
Somebody gave me advice once. It was after I had left college and I was coming into like what I call the real world. Yeah. And they were like, go meet somebody who you want to be. And so I went and I was just hanging out with some moms. And obviously my motherhood journey didn't come for years, but I celebrated with them and had fun with them.
Yeah.
And now that I'm there, I can go to them and be like, okay, wait, what's happening? And they're like, oh girl, we got you. But you just, go to somebody, be in community, don't let it intimidate you. Because I think that's from the enemy. Right? The enemy is the one who wants us separated. He wants us to believe the lies that are in our heads when your community is telling you the exact opposite. Right? They're believing in you. They're cheering you on. And oftentimes they see the call of God on your life before you do sometimes, right? They can call that out in you and encourage you. So, thank you ladies so much for coming and sharing your stories. Yeah, of course. I'm so excited. So